Thank you so much. Very good morning to all the people listening here and have come here to listen to this talk on self-esteem. And first, I must thank Pravina ma'am for giving me this opportunity to be able to come here and put my thoughts on what I have to talk on self-esteem. Thank you so much, Pravina ma'am. It's an absolute pleasure for me. I'll just introduce myself in two or three lines. I'm Girija Sridhar from New Delhi, and I'm a certified master trainer with the Skill Development of India. And I've had the pleasure of, having workshops for teachers and students, whether it's motivation or communication skills. What I've done with skill development is communication skills and logistics. So these are the two domains I have been working on. So that's it. So now, before I begin, I would like to, my focus, of course, is on this, but this is very, very close to my heart, what I'm going to talk about. And I would begin with a short story because that story has a profound effect I've noticed, especially this story, which is meant to talk about self-esteem. So this story, maybe some of you would have heard it also. It's about a teacher called Mrs. Anderson and her son and her student Tom. So these two people, I mean, this whole story is around them only. There's nobody else in this. So yeah. So Tom, as a student, is absolutely, you can say, I don't want to use the word zero, but he is. Neither is he dressed properly, neither does he do his homework, and he doesn't have any friends. And every time his notebooks are filled with red marks. Mrs. Anderson sort of takes a kind of a pleasure, saying, oh, there comes his notebook. Here I'm going to put red marks. So this thing goes on for some time. And during midterm examinations, the principal gets to see all their notes and notebooks. So she's quite surprised to see a child's report card full of red marks. So she asks her, what is this, Mrs. Anderson? Mrs. Anderson obviously goes into all the negatives of the child and says, but then the principal is a sensible lady. She says, okay, but Mrs. Anderson, have you ever tried to find out why? So her answer is, of course, no. So she says, okay, I advise you to go to the classes grade 3 because right now he's in grade 4, grade 3, grade 2, and grade 1, and just see what they have to say about him. So she goes there, and grade 3 says that the child was okay, but later on, during the end of the term, his mother, who was suffering from serious illness, passed away. So the child just he couldn't relate to the class or anything like that. So she's a little taken aback. Then she goes to grade 2, where the teacher says, he was a good kid till midterm, but his mother, when he came to know about his mother's illness, the child literally wilted. It was very sad to see him suffer. And grade 1 is the one which is really something to talk about. The teacher, oh, you're talking about Tom? He was one of the best students of my class. And she was very, she said this, it's not in terms of his doing well or getting A grades. It had nothing to do with grades. He was, of course, good. But that apart, he was a friendly kid, always helping people and making people laugh. And all the kids loved him so much. And so did I, she says. She said, I missed that child. Now, this was something which she was not, didn't expect to hear this. So she goes home and she breaks down thinking, what have I done? But then she's a sensible lady. She pulls herself together, goes back to class next day, and with very small difference, she makes for the child, very, very little. Like, for example, can you help me, Tom, with, taking the books to the staff room? Or can you just rub the board? Small little things. So this was slowly having an effect. And then by the time, of course, then comes Teacher's Day, which is the real point here. So during Teacher's Day, he brings her a gift wrapped in some old newspaper. And when she opens the newspaper, there's a perfume bottle, which is waterful, filled. And then there is a bracelet, which has the stones are missing, one or two of them. But look at her, presence of mind. She says, oh my God, this is my favorite perfume. And immediately she puts it on herself. And then the bracelet she puts on. So she's brought such a beautiful, the child is full of smiles and so happy. And this is the turning point in his life. So every year he goes to the next class, he sends a letter to her saying, ma'am, all the teachers are good, but you're the best. And this is how then comes his, when he passes out of school, he goes to college, he becomes a well-known doctor in New York. She gets a letter. By that time, of course, she has not resigned. I mean, what has she done? She's left the school now because she's old, retired. She's retired now. So, but she gets that letter and the ticket to go to New York for his wedding. She is actually not even well, but then she decides to go. There she goes, and out there in the church, they ask her to come inside, and then Tom escorts her to a chair where it is written at the back, Mother. So, she just very teary she becomes. She just sits down quietly and listens to what he has to say. So he goes into raptures about, oh, Mrs. Anderson was the one who changed my life and all these things. But then she stops in midway. She says, I'd like to say a few words, Tom. Is it okay? He says, yes, ma'am. So what does she say? She says, whatever he's saying is not true at all. The truth is, he changed me. He made me understand what I should be doing as a teacher. So this is actually the story, it is a really eye opener, I would say, and a very something which impacts people. What is it? What is that thing which is making children do feel what they do today? And what is it that we can do? What is that one ingredient, I would call that an ingredient, which we can really, I would say the word inject into the children in a way that they can become, what they are. Basically, everyone has got something in him, but it is not there. So what is that ingredient which can really change the personality of a child? It's very critical. And what is that? That is, of course, self-esteem. Now, self-esteem, this word has come from a Latin word actually, to estimate. That's what they mean. So basically, what is self-esteem? It is just what you think about yourself, your perception about yourself, and it also comes through your childhood. See, as a child, you have no, your brain is sort of empty, you can say. There's nothing in it. What you have to say, what you have to do, just you do what has been going on in your mind from childhood onwards. So all that comes together, and even when you grow up, it's there in your subconscious. So when it is there in your subconscious, whatever you might have had in terms of, with your parents or your teachers or even others, interpersonal relationships, all these things, they matter. So when these things matter, the child becomes what he is. So this is self-esteem. So how can we do something about it? The question is this: what can we as parents and teachers do? We can, because we have the power. We can do it. Maybe there are methods, and maybe for some kids it is a bit slow. Some day, it's very quick, but that doesn't matter. See, God has given us all a gift, and it is wrapped beautifully. Now, that gift, when they open that gift, all the goodies are there for them. Who is going to help them? Because if they are helpless, in the sense if they're children, it's not an easy task. Maybe for elders, it may be a little easier because they know what's what. So that way, we can be of great, great help, right from parents onwards to us as teachers. We can do it. Now, one may also say, in a class of, say, 40, 50, is it that easy? I'm sure it is not. But even if it is not, we can at least make an effort. We can also, try to have a look on the students who you feel need you. So that need-based, you can do it, but slowly and surely you can easily do it. So let me just, this, yeah. So that's what it was all about, defining self-esteem. So it refers to your individual overall sense of self-worth. Absolutely, your personal value. Because what happens, constantly, if the child is being told, you're not capable or whatever in small words, but those have a profound effect on the child's mind. And it can stay there for a long time. Then what happens, he starts literally believing that, yes, I'm not good. Maybe this is what it is. So this is where I'm saying we as teachers and parents, we can make a difference to the child's way of thinking, whatever he's doing or she's doing. So essential for mental health, absolutely, relationships and personal success for the child. Personal success is so important for the child. A child who's being constantly told that you can't starts believing it. How can we change it? That word called I can't has to be changed into I can. And I'm telling you, we are the instruments. That instrument is you, me, parents, everybody who's connected with the child and who's a well-wisher. Okay. Now, this is again the same thing. Relationship, of course. Now, like I said before, they influence it, and because it's in the subconscious, it comes out in various ways. It comes out in various ways as how you interact with people. How do you take anything? You don't take anything properly if your self-esteem is low. Whatever is said to you, you take it in a very negative manner because you already feel you're no good. So already you're feeling bad about the whole thing. So this is it. All right. That's yeah. So these three things which have come up here: mental health, relationships, and achievements. Now, achievements definitely impact motivation, like we were talking about the story. A small achievement here, a small achievement there, like a child who's been constantly getting, say, 3 out of 10, maybe, and then he gets 5. You as a teacher, me as a teacher, and even a parent, let's not say, oh, it's just 5. No, it is. He needs that validation, which you and I can definitely give. We can give and we must give. This is our job, actually. We should do it. Because why should we see a child suffering? Imagine, a child's life where all he has to do is feel, what is a child's life actually? Be happy, be with other kids, have fun, all that. But what is he doing? He's always anxious, always sad. Maybe there are tears. We don't want that. So when we don't want that, what are we supposed to do? We are supposed to do all these things by way of making them feel proud of themselves. Always a pat on the back when the smallest thing happens. It doesn't have to be big, like, oh, you got 100%. It doesn't matter whether you got 100 or 50 or 40 more. Every little thing we need to just push them. The pushing them is so important. So this is what I would say, having this kind of a poster where self-esteem words, it can be for older children, but we can put it across and make it really this way. How do you do? What is the acronym for self-esteem? This is it. Now, what do? You set goals. This, like I said, it could be for elder ones, but even so, asking them to, do exercises daily, do with them. The parents can do, teachers can do. Love yourself. Tell them you're the best. Keep telling them, make a small, like, you can say poster saying, I'm amazing. I'm absolutely wonderful. Whatever pluses you can say in those adjectives you can use, do that and then ask them to stick it up on their in their room and see it every day, colorful. 1 or 2 days, they may not feel so good about it, but believe me, I have seen this happen to even older kids, like college kids. You start feeling a sense of self-worth. Oh yes, I'm good, I'm great. So that feeling of saying it repeatedly again and again, smiling and telling, and that can be done in the class as well. Even in the class, every morning, saying these kind of affirmations, like, it looks like a saying, oh, we just saying it again and again, but the effect it has, that's what we want. Eating healthy, smiling more, telling yourself you can, I can do it. Maybe right now I can't, but I can do it. Remove the word called I can't from the dictionary and we must do it. Express confidence in whatever they are doing. Motivate them for every little thing they do, every little thing they do. Just even if they're just smiling, oh wow, you look good. Things like that. Motivation, we have it in us. We can do it for the kids. Okay. So now the factors. Let's talk about the factors. Biological factors, of course, genetics, brain chemistry, all these changes happen as you're growing up, these will happen. Now, past experiences and the self-perception, as I will say, most of it is during your childhood. And you're growing up, like I said earlier, your brain is quite empty. So whatever we're going to fill in there by way of our talk, the way we speak, the way we say things to them, it could be really something terrible people have faced. And if it goes on and on for a long time, how do we expect a child to be all happy and, smiling? How? It's not possible because we made the self-perception as if they are nothing and past experiences of always being told, that you're not good enough, you're not up to the mark and things like that. You keep on and on, this will happen. And family dynamics, of course. Peer influences, of course, there when you come to college and even in school. You might be bullied or so many things are happening. Many things, every child may not go exactly the same way as somebody else did, but some things are common. So peer influences and cultural expectations. You expect so much. The expectation part is a whole lot for the child. It's a lot. So like peer relationships, academic performance. It's just this I wanted to come to. Parents, especially, I've noticed, when a child doesn't perform as well as maybe your neighbor, you start telling him this. Let me just give you a small example of Jaggi Vasudev. He was the one, that's why I got this from him. He says, when a child doesn't do well, you say a lot of things to him, isn't it? Yes, all the parents. It was a parent-teacher kind of a meeting. So he said, yes. He said, okay, your child gets hurt. What do you do about it? Oh, yes, we put a band-aid, we put medicine, we do all those things. Very good. Next day, what do you do? Do you pull out that band-aid and scratch it? Oh, no, of course we don't. Well, that's what you're doing. Day in and day out, day in and day out, you're after him. He hasn't done well. He hasn't done well. Are you trying to see? Are you actually watching him every day? Maybe he's sad. Maybe there is something bothering him. We are not bothered about what's bothering him. We are more bothered about his academic performances. And that person in your family has done well, your neighbor has done well. These things influence your child to such an extent that he will refuse to do anything. Believe me, he will refuse. So this will also impact his career achievements as well, because he may reach a certain point, no doubt, but it will. So these personal accomplishments are so important, and that will only come when we increase, that raise his self-esteem. That bar has to be raised, which is so low. So even for elderly people, it's not just youngsters, elderly people will also go through these things, affected by retirement, health issues, change in their social roles, whatever things are happening. Even adults can have low self-esteem. Even that can be changed. But right now, since we're talking about children, children need this a lot, and it's a medicine. Literally, I would call this a medicine, which we must give the children on a daily basis. Now, let us see what is high self-esteem. See, you feel emotional symptoms are these. Those people who have low self-esteem, anxiety is there, your feeling of worthlessness, I'm not good enough. That is stuck in your mind like a label, I'm not good enough. So behavior is also there. Now, challenges, you don't want to take any challenges because why? Because you already feel that I don't think I'm going to succeed in this. So excessive self-criticism. Yes, these are the three things I wish we could all let our children believe that they don't need these three things, these three C's. Criticism, comparison, and all the time complaining. These will happen. Criticism of whom? Mostly it is self-criticism. And even sometimes, when you feel like you can criticize others also, but self is a lot because I'm not good enough. I don't make friends easily. Look at my marks. Look how nice they look. I don't look good enough. All these things are there of making you feel worthless. And comparing will come because everybody's been doing it already to you. So you also start doing. Look where he has reached. And then when you're doing all these things, how can a child grow? So we have to make him believe and her believe that these three things are not there. You're good as you are. That is it. You're just as good as you are. We love you for what you are. You're so good at this. You're so good at that. Because everybody cannot be good at the same thing, same time. I might be good in maybe say badminton, but I have no idea about tennis. I'm just talking about a game. So I might be good in maths, but I may not be good in social science. That's okay. So we have to make ways and means of trying to bring them up to a certain level and not feel bad about it. They need a lot of validation. These children, they need a lot. And a lot is not like, up till this much. There is no limit to your validating their whatever they're doing. So what happens? These physical symptoms will also be there. They will not sleep properly. They won't eat properly. The energy levels are at an all-time low. Have we tried to find out why? I always say this, this question has to be why. The three words, the three alphabets, I would say WHY. Why is very necessary. And when you want to get high self-esteem, it is YES. Three alphabets again. So these two things, which if we try on a daily basis, whenever we can, I'm sure in school of 40, 50, it may not be that simple, but then we are intelligent enough, we can find out ways and means of trying to change their belief in themselves. The worthiness they have about themselves is so low, self-worth is so low. We can do it. We can change it. So let's take it up as a kind of a, goal-oriented. Yes, I'm here for a purpose. We are all here for a purpose. And the more we, think about the purpose, we have been lucky that we've had this good education. We've got sense. We've got everything with that. So why not make a difference to the world? See, making a difference is so much more important than all the qualifications you and I might have. That is, of course, the base of it all. But what are these other ingredients on top of it we are putting to make it more, your education much more worthy, much more happening for everybody else? So these are some of the things which we need to do and think about it. Write down on a piece of paper or, have your notebook. Just see, yes, these are the things I can do. Think about some activities where, these children can be included, including the children in everything. Just notice how a child who's not included, you just go to the playground and see some child is just sitting all by himself. Now, should we not try to find out why? We can't say it is not our cup of tea. Why not? Now, the same teachers who may have children in different schools, may not be in the same school. If such a thing happened to their child, how do you feel about it? So we can we can approach and make a difference to the child's feeling. Now, there itself, the child is going to feel, look, someone cares for me. God knows what happened at home, why he's like that. Is he sick? Is he ill? There is something bothering him. All these things. For this, I had a small kind of an activity for teachers actually. This was for a teacher training program. I got all different blocks, colored blocks, say purple, blue, and green. Green was one, the others were 10 each. So I told the teachers to pick up each, one each. So everybody picked up and asked them who's got that one single one, green one. There was one teacher. I said, how are you feeling? All the colors were together. She was all by herself. She said, I'm not feeling good, ma'am. I'm feeling lonely. I said, this is exactly what happens to a child when there's everybody together and he's alone. So these things we can notice. We have to notice. See, we have got the power to notice and the power to make a change. So why not we do it? So imagine the child's state of mind when you as a teacher go up to him and ask, dear, what's wrong? All okay? Or something like that. Some small word you're using, and that word can make a change. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. Okay. Children and adolescents, yes. They're influenced by all these relationships, academic performances, like we spoke, that frankly affects everybody, but it affects the little one, older ones a bit more. Academic performances and family dynamics. Here, the family dynamics play a part, like I think I already mentioned, how the expectations are so high. Somebody is, in some great institution, he's gone abroad, he's done this, he's done that. Look where you are, look where you are. So these things, then don't expect any change from the child by constantly, like Jaggi Vasudev said, if you're constantly going to do the same thing, scratching him on where he hurts, he's hurting. So then adults, what about, this is for the adolescents, what about the earth? They are impacted by career achievements. Now you've somehow passed your college and you've gone into you're working for some company. Now career achievements, why won't they work for you? Because you're thinking about yourself is so low. You keep going there and thinking, my God, will I be able to communicate? My communication skills are really not so good. So all these negative things are again coming on and on and on. So here, I have also suggested to people where, the working community, that here also you must have something called talking about self-esteem in a different way and having some activities for them. So they start getting little, improving themselves. So they are impacted by these achievements, and relationships will not grow well in your workplace as well, because your esteem is low. You wonder, if I say something, will it look good? They're all talking so nicely and I'm not able to talk, so I withdraw myself. So you're already going backwards. Then your personal accomplishments also go low. So this is for children, this is for adults and the elderly, by the retirement and all we talked about, and changes in social roles. All these things for adults also. Symptoms we spoke about. Yeah. Now, some of these habits of so low self-esteem must stop. They must stop. Negative self-talk we talked about. Then what they do sometimes, they just try to seek validation. They're just waiting. But where is it coming from? It's not coming anywhere. So fear of failure, comparison, those three seeds which I spoke about, we need to just throw them out from their life. Just throw them out. We can do it. And these children, even adults, we can say even these, um, teenagers, as well as people who are working, they have a difficulty in saying no, because they feel, if I say no, what will they think of me? So they agree to things in which they would want to disagree, but they agree. Because why? People pleasing is there. They just want to be one amongst them. They feel maybe if I, pleasing people, maybe they'll also include me in what they're doing. So avoiding challenges. Yes, they cannot take a challenges. Here, I would like to just make a difference between confidence and self-esteem. See, you're confident of doing something, but you're not sure because you don't think well about yourself. Confidence is there. I can easily do this. You know it in your heart, you can do it. But your self-esteem stops you from it. Then this is what you don't want to take risks, because risk taking is also another fear for you. Like I said, you might say, I might fail, then what? I know it. But I don't know if I do this and if I fail, what will everybody think of me? What will others think of me really makes them do these kind of things in spite of the fact that they may be so much better than so many others, but that makes them all the time think about these things. Now, what should we do about it? Building healthy self-esteem. Yes. Self-awareness, understanding personal strengths and weaknesses. I won't even call it a weakness actually. Now, what they need to do, what am I good at? These things should come into them. Oh, you're so good. Why don't you write something what you're good at? And I will not say weakness. There you say where I could improve. Now, for a child, it may not be that easy, but still, you can try. You say, I'm good at this. I'm so good at this. I'm so good at this. So that, that makes them so happy. So understanding your personal strengths is another plus point. Self-compassion. Treat yourself with kindness. Doesn't matter if it happens. That doesn't matter, even though I won't say it's a negative word, doesn't matter, it's okay. That sort of a thing should come into you. Goal setting, teach them that. Setting goals and celebrating achievements. You celebrate your own achievement. A little older that you are, you celebrate it. You did well in this. Just say, oh, good, I think I'm getting somewhere. So you're validating yourself, which you need. Every time you don't validate validation from others, you don't need. You have the courage and you have the right to validate your own self. Then positive affirmations, replacing those negative thoughts by saying, I can't, that's what I said, you change it to I can. I'm good, I'm improving. When they talk about communication skills and English speaking groups where they come up straight and foremost, they'll say, the first thing they'll say, oh, I'm really poor in English, I'm not able to communicate. So there itself, put a stop to it. Say, I'm trying my best, I'm improving, things are getting better day by day. I'm sure I will do it. These words are going to have an effect on you, believe me. There has been a theory, a scientific theory, which says whatever you say again and again and again, your body cells hear you and they say, okay, that's how it is. Tathastute. They'll say yes. But if you change the way you speak and you say, I'm trying, I'm sure I'm going to reach that goal, there's nothing which is going to stop me, I'm unstoppable, your body cells will say, yes, you are. And then you start meeting those kind of people who will uplift you, not downgrade you, make you feel, yes, oh my God, you're just wonderful. I just can't do this. Even this, I just can't do this. Sometimes parents and teachers, even if they can just say, oh my God, I never knew this. You know it better than me. So that is helpful to him. The kid feels, oh, that means I'm good at this. That means I'm good at this. So strategies again. Negative thoughts, patterns, like we already said, replacing by positive ones. The minute the negative thoughts come into your mind, the older ones I'm saying, you can just pinch yourself and say, no, this is not what I want to say. I'm going to say this. Can't replaced by can. Now, building resilience, developing coping strategies, problem solving skills. Okay, this didn't work for me, so am I giving up? No, I'm not. I'm not giving up. Just like, it's a small example. You're going to your workplace and you take a certain route every day and, you're reaching late. Then maybe you think, okay, let me take another route. Maybe that will. At least you're trying. You're taking another route. This may not be exactly to do with this, but you can't just sit there and try again and again. It's not working. Let me see something else. So problem solving skills you will learn from here and seek support. Never feel shy to ask. See, that is why many of the children, they just sit there wondering, if I ask, what will the teacher think? What will somebody else think? To develop that skill of asking, even take support groups are there. You can always do that. And as a child, learn to ask why and make them speak, make them speak. Making them come forward and speaking is another way of, building their confidence. Now what happens? Now, for years and years, they have never spoken in front of the class, maybe. So suddenly, when they reach a certain standard, say 10th or 12th, we are expecting them to make presentations in absolutely good English with no mistakes. Can they do it? They can't. Even if they can, they're so scared because they've never done it before. So there was this one principal, she took this, I told her, I said, every week after they come back from the weekend, just ask them to come forward. Coming forward itself is a big task for them, facing a huge class of, say, 30, 40. But if it is already done when you're a child, as they grow older, it becomes easy. They become confident. They can look at you straight on your face, on your eyes, and say, yeah, their body language will also change as they get into a practice. So these are something which we have to inculcate in our schools so that the children do not feel that I can't do this when they reach a certain level. In fact, even after school, when they reach college and even if they have reached their work, the career growth, the career, they are not able to because they haven't been able to speak. The speaking has to be done even at home, even at school. School, like having a period only for speaking. You just come up daily, once a week also, or say twice a week you can do. Now, doing that, slowly you will yourself feel the confidence in a child. Yeah, last 2 weeks he was not like this. At least he's coming forward. Initially, they will not come. They will not. College students also, they will not come. But later, you just make them feel good. One line he spoke, wow, that was a great line. I think I put it down in my notebook, something like that, just to make them feel good. The feel good strategy is so important. Now, this social skill, self-esteem one, this can be given to the children so that they fill it up. They need not write their names if they don't want to. You can see what is it that they need, what are the skills they need, so that they can also tell you what they are afraid of, what they're good at, and then you can start working on it. Maybe there are a few kids who are like this, a few kids who are another way. So when you start working on them, the pleasure you will feel as a teacher, I think this is the best reward you can have, that you were able to change something in the child who was so low, and then that's the best reward you're getting. As a teacher, the best reward I feel is when you change someone. We are here to change something. If we make a change, we are the best, I'm telling you. So making a change in somebody's life, especially the young kids, I think the reward, I said again, I'm saying it again, that's the biggest reward you and I could get.
Ms. Girija, as we are running out of time.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. So I could just, there was one thing I've written, please, if I can just read it out, just take a second.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, this is just, no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. This is what Eleanor Roosevelt said. This is absolutely true, because if there's anybody who can do it, it is you. So this was a good quote, I got it from somewhere. So I think this quote, we need to address it and, use it in our lives. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Ms. Girija. If you can stop sharing your screen.
Okay.
And I can see Dr. Akriti and Ms. Jyoti as audience. If they have any questions, you can unmute yourself and please ask your question, please.
There is some issue here. I'm not able to remove it. I can just speak this way, ma'am.
No problem. No issues.
Thank you.
Dr. Akriti and Ms. Jyoti, if you have any questions, you can unmute yourself. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Dr. Akriti, you can post it here, no issues.
Sorry.
Great. So, ma'am, Dr. Akriti's question is, how can parents help children build their self-esteem positively?
Sorry?
How can parents help children build their self-esteem positively?
Okay. Okay. Helping the children to build self-esteem, yes. Now, the thing is, when they are born, like I said earlier, there is nothing in their brain as such. They're just growing up. Now, it is during these times as a parent, you have also so many things to do. Everybody has. But then the child has come to you. So you're the one who's going to build him up. Like, actually, you're the foundation. You're the base of what he's going to be when he grows up. So we should make the base so strong and so loving that the child feels, the feel good factor will come into him. So every time he does something which is not what you want him to do, there are various ways and methods of making him understand, okay, you did this, never mind, let me show you how to do this. Making him feel you're part of it. Or something didn't work for you, oh my God. And you're giving him examples from your childhood, even if they're not so true. For example, you didn't do well in your, say, class 2 or 3, wherever you are. Now you can give the same example. Yeah, okay, you didn't do well, never mind. Even I did this in my class, but this is how I did better. I started, I gave myself some time. I started doing more. Then I started asking my mom and dad what to do. And I also started in class, I started asking questions and things became okay. I'm sure you're going to do. You got so much in you. I'm just so proud of you. Any small achievement he makes, anything he does, it is for us to just validate him and give him a pat on the back. Like I said, we have all come into this world with a beautiful uh, gift. That gift, it is wrapped so beautifully as well. Let us open that gift and let him take all the goodies in this. These are all the goodies. His self-esteem, his confidence, his communication skills, his laughter. That is what we want. See, initially when the child is very small, his laughter, everything, we love it. But as he starts growing up, when he doesn't do well academically or there is something wrong, we start, saying things which from our point of view, we think, yeah, after all, we should discipline him, we should do this. I'm not saying no to discipline, but the way of disciplining is also there. How do you do it? How do you make him feel that this was wrong? Instead of saying, this, you shouldn't have done this, this is absolutely wrong, you need to be punished for this, or whatever the way you want to say. But that's not it. We have to learn. We have to learn from experiences, of people. Now, when we see these things happening in a child, let us just introspect and see what best way can I make things better for my child. And notice him, noticing him is very important. Does he come back from school and is he just sitting there quietly, or what is he doing? So these are, noticing is very important, not just giving him, his lunch, dinner. You're doing it, obviously, every parent does it, you're doing it. But notice the way he behaves at the dining table or with you. What does he do? So as a parent, when he comes back from school, don't ask him, what were the marks you got? What did you do? That's not important. Just say, how was your day? I'm sure it was good. Tell me about it. Something which will make, maybe if something was not good also, he would like to share with you. Believe me, if we don't do these kind of small little things, he will not share with you when you expect him to share. Then he will say, oh, you never told me. You didn't make the space for him to tell. Will he like to confide in you? I'm not sure, because we didn't do what we should have done. So make things easy for him to tell you. The most difficult part also he will tell you. The easiest part also he will tell you. Then that is what is all relationships of, father, mother, child relationship is all about. So let us be the instrument to change things for him in his life.
Thank you, ma'am. So in continuation, yes, ma'am says, Dr. Akriti says, thank you. It was a wonderful and enlightening talk. That's her comment, ma'am. In continuation to Dr. Akriti's question, ma'am, what are some common communication pitfalls that can negatively impact a child's self-esteem?
Okay. Negative, you mean in terms of speaking, right?
Yes, when we think that we are asking them and we are encouraging them, but unknowingly we as parents or as elders, as teachers, we kind of, there is a miscommunication, some kind of common communication failures that can negatively impact a child's self-esteem. What do we do? What should we learn as elders and parents to communicate with the child to grow their self-esteem?
Okay. Yeah, that's a good one. Actually, I think lot of love is one of the first things I think, which needs to be given to a child. So communication, you also have to notice when you say something in a certain manner, look at him or her very closely to see his reactions. See, we may make mistakes. We all do. No parent is perfect, no child is perfect. But we are the elders, we are the parents, we are the teachers. Just see when you say a certain thing, how did he look? How did he respond? Then from there onwards, you need to change your way, the way you spoke to him. Maybe in your own, goodness, you said, yeah, if you do this, this will happen in a nice way. You think it's a very nice way, but it may not be a nice way. So change the way you speak a little softly, just come down to their level, just sit with him. You may be so busy. Believe me, this is another thing. You may be so busy in your kitchen, you may be so busy doing something else. But if you want to build up your child, you need to leave everything. You have to do it. It is that has to be given least importance. This has to be given more important. Listen to him. Yeah, I'm just coming. Just a minute or something like that. You know what to say. You tell that child and then he will do. Everything has to be done to make him feel the good, feel good factor has to come in him. Then you also slowly you will learn. See, we are also nobody, no parent knew how to be exactly. Maybe we are taking down some things from our parents, and now when things change, we also need to change here and there, and then we can make the change. We should be ready to change also. No, that's how it was done. That's how it will be. No, it will not be. Because what were the results? What were the results we saw on X, Y, and Z of people, who were brought up in a certain way? How was the result? When you see those results, you can make the change. So making communication a happy communication is this. When they come back from school or wherever they come, never mind. The minute you see the report card, your face should not become so small. Which is, oh, that's okay. That's okay. I'm sure you're going to do well. That doesn't matter. Something, but you should not make it so that, okay, it doesn't matter at all. That also should not go to the other extreme. You help him. You try to say, let me see if I can help you. Let me see, if I can do something about it. Sit with him, spending time with your child, even playing with him, play with him. See, even watch a TV, some program with him. Talk to him, make him read books, tell him stories, good stories. Now, telling him about, say, being kind, being compassionate, being a grateful person, that's all great. Do this, do that is not going to have an effect as much as telling him a beautiful story. Now, that story will stay with him for ages. I'm sure all of us, our parents and grandparents, whatever, some of the stories stay with us. So we can read. We've got the capacity of reading good stories. Then sit with them, show them the pictures. Your child will literally, from bloom from a little bud to a beautiful flower. And that's what we want all our children to become beautiful flowers, happy flowers, right?
Thank you, ma'am. Any more questions from Dr. Akriti or Ms. Jyoti? We are going to end the session. If you have any questions, please respond. Thank you. Okay. So, ma'am, anything else you want to mention, Ms. Girija Sridhar? Thank you for the talk and for patiently answering all the questions. It was indeed a wonderful and enlightening talk for me too. And we also thank the audience for participating in the event, and Dr. Akriti, wonderful question. And I would like to end the session. Any message for the audience, ma'am?
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Yeah. For me also, it was an absolute pleasure speaking on your forum. And again, thank you for inviting me. And this topic, like I said in the first, right in the beginning, it's very close to my heart because I have seen children suffer with low self-esteem. And so that's why I said we should do what we can. Now, I would just give one small little, triple A formula is there. You should help them. Acceptance, approval, and appreciation. These three things. So accept them as they are. Accept them as they are. Approval, recognizing the value and valuing them for the efforts and the qualities they have. It could be a very small effort they made or a very tiny little quality they have. Doesn't matter. Like, you're walking in a line, they give space to somebody else to go forward. Just recognize that. Call him and say, oh, that was a great thing you did. I think, I'm not sure whether I did when I was a kid or something like that to that effect. And then appreciate the good in them. Appreciation, validation, we all know how much it will help a small child, a teenager, an adult, an old person, anybody. Everybody looks for that. Now, I won't say looks for that, feels very happy when you appreciate that. So let us be a person who does all these three things and raise the self-esteem of all the kids in the world. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. I'll end the session now.
Thanks.